And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast, 888-659-3727. Like I was telling Joe earlier, the last person you want to see at the bar is your shrink.
It's great.
It was Halloween. I actually was out with Common Law, and we went from one place, and then we ended up at the Palm. And I see this guy standing in the corner, and he sees me. I'm like, there's no fucking way that my shrink is out drinking, wearing a costume on Halloween. Like, I don't know how I feel about this shit. That's what's going through my mind after a couple of drinks.
Imagine if he ended his last session of the day and said, okay, we're done. Let's go get a drink.
Yeah, it's very possible. Now, listen, I'm not judging. You know, he's entitled to have a personal life. But I'm like...
just not around me.
Yeah, I'm just like, look, and I told him, I said, I'm a little drunk. I really appreciate no judgment the next time I see you. It's Halloween.
He looks at you straight in the eye and goes, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. He laughed, he laughed. But yeah. But I really try to keep, I wasn't going to hang out. I wasn't going to like, hey, let's have a drink. None of that shit. It's like, oh, hey, my therapist is there. Let me say hello and then avoid him for the rest of the night because these lines should not cross.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, not when you're me.
Of course not.
Because now I'm thinking, do I have to get rid of this guy now?
Do I have to fire him? Because it completely changes the dynamic, right?
100%.
You see him outside of this safe space. I hate using that word, but that's what it is. And now he's suddenly become human.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Well, look, he wasn't doing anything inappropriate. He was drinking at a bar wearing a costume.
That bastard.
Now, that's fine. And that's the way it should be. But in my warped mind, I'm like, I might as well have seen him with his pants down.
So I'm assuming you didn't go to the men's room together?
Did not.
Okay.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. As you guys could hear, I have my hangover voice on. I did go out last night, and the first time I actually went drinking in quite a long time. I had a really lovely time, by the way, but for some reason my leg hurts, and I can't figure out why. That's all I'm saying. So it was one of those nights.
Yeah. I went out last night to walk my dog.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm sure you did. You give out any candies to any candy to kids?
No, they can't get up to my unit, which is why I got such a high level domicile. So the kids can't come up and bother us.
I put out like a bowl of broccoli with a sign that says, just take one.
And a pair of chopsticks.
Yeah.
I did scare the shit out of some kids, and I just couldn't stop laughing. There were like late teens, maybe early 20s. And so they were at the edge of this park that I walk my dog in. There's no lighting, there's no lighting at all at this place. And so I'll walk up and I turn on the flashlight on my phone, and they all had their masks on. They all had their outfits on, and they were taking pictures of each other with sparklers. It's like, okay, fine, cool. But I thought, this is just too good of an opportunity. And so they heard me come up behind them, and they all had their masks on. So I thought, I'm going to get them. So when they turned around and looked at me, I went, like that.
Yeah.
And they shat themselves.
Yeah, they freaked out. I mean,
like they started screaming.
You got some 50-year-old dude pulling that shit. That is scary shit, man.
And it was like I doubled over. I just started horse laughing, and then they finally realized what was going on, and they started laughing too. And then and I carved them up and took them home, ate them, put them in my freezer. So it was a great Halloween.
Yeah, you pulled the Jeffrey Dahmer on him.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at all these kids. First of all, and this is why I probably shouldn't be drinking on Halloween, because you kind of forget it's Halloween, and you're walking around, you're like, what the fuck is this person wearing?
Yeah. Well, you were drunk.
And you know what's funny about Halloween is like it gives women the license to be, and there's nothing wrong with hookers. I think hookers are great. But it gives women the license to be hookers.
License to, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They feel the need to essentially just dress as hookery as possible.
As slutty as they can think of.
Yeah. Which is fine with me.
Nothing wrong with that.
But it's interesting to see that.
Well, it's interesting to see what they come up with. It's like, that's what's going on in that head. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see.
Like,
so.
What are you, like a hooker gynecologist? Those are the type of uniform. Those are the type of costumes that they wear around here in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Well, what I find interesting also is to see what hair transplant doctors dress up as.
I actually showed a hair transplant doctor a costume that I have, which is basically a lab coat that says "Hair transplants are us" on it, with blood on it. And that was a real winner.
Classy.
That was a real winner a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Classy. Not as much of a winner as the was it the clown? Was it I'm trying to remember, this is so long ago. The clown talking about hair transplant consultations, which is a subject for today.
Oh my God. And that's a great segue. Yeah, there was a time, and it was fascinating the way that this industry has evolved, and what these doctors have put up with and have allowed and actually nurtured.
Let me correct you there. Devolved.
Well, yes.
Actually, I think I some of it's evolved, some of it's devolved. But yeah,
100%. But back in the day, 20 years ago, there was a guy that was going to all these meetings, that was putting on these parties, and he had this doctor with a duck face, clown, walking around, Dr. Quackalopoulos or some stuff like that. And these fucking guys were so charmed. And, I mean, all you had to do is give them a party. And it really, listen, in my view, it made a mockery of the entire field. And there's nothing wrong with having fun. But it wasn't a fun, it was like, it was beyond like almost, it was like cringeworthy to see these doctors in that environment. You know, I'm going out there, I'm trying to essentially, change the field and try to, actually add a little bit of fucking dignity to this fucking specialty. And these guys are nurturing this bullshit, and some of them are still doing it, I mean, for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like the worst of the worst.
They take the stereotype that has come down on top of the hair transplant industry, and they blow it up times 100 with how they present themselves.
This would never happen. And I have to tell you, I'm dealing with some dermatologists right now, and I'm going to be doing some things in dermatology. And the difference between the way when you go to like a dermatology meeting or you go to a hair transplant conference, it's fucking fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to watch. It's literally like when you're in the hair transplant conference, it's a fucking trade show. That's all that it is. And it's not even a good trade show.
No.
It's some of the cheapest looking, I mean, the booths, and I mean, it's unbelievable how that has not evolved.
Well, yeah, when you go to these conferences, in the vendor areas, they have nothing more than the tables. Sometimes they'll have more, but usually it's tables provided by the facility that the conference is in, usually a hotel,
right,
and some sort of drapery cloth over the top of it. That's it.
Right.
And then the organization will have they'll rent dividers, because they'll have like one row down the center was divided down the middle, and then booths on either side of the divider facing outward, right? And maybe some other dividers throughout, but that's it. The occasional manufacturer or vendor will throw down some cash and put up a kiosk.
Sure.
But that's about as far as it goes.
But what I found interesting about, and we're obviously we're talking about the ISHS because they're the only ones in the industry that are throwing these conferences or these trade shows. But what I find interesting about it, it's almost as though the vendors are looked at as an afterthought. When in my mind, and all the really impressive shows that I've been to, whether it's A4M or whether it's any of the plastic surgery conferences, vendors are the most important aspect of the conference as far as, you got to put them front and center. They deserve a certain amount of, involvement in the entire, even within the scientific aspects of things, during the lectures, shit like that. I'm not going to get into specifics, but it's really interesting to watch. And I think that's also part of the reason why the industry it's still not taken seriously. It really is looked at very weak. If you have someone, I never forget when this one guy from his robotics company, he's no longer working with them, said to me, and this guy was in the medical field for 20 some odd years. He came back from an ISHRS conference. He was just like, I've never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything like this. So anyway, we're not here to bash. It's not about bashing. We're just, sadly, it's the industry itself that has really caused a lot of its own issues, all self-inflicted wounds. And I say another self-inflicted wound that just started today.
Hang on. I'm thinking. You lost me.
It was an Instagram post that I saw.
Ah.
And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just like, holy mother of God. All right, well, it looks like they got someone to put some decent graphics into it, but the entire concept...
Oh, yeah.
The entire concept is fucking frightening.
Yeah.
It's like... Anyway, we're in trouble, guys.
Hang on.
Yeah.
No, okay. Note that they took an existing idea that had already been done.
Yes.
An existing presentation, and recycled it into this new package that I'm embarrassed for them. Anyway. Yeah, I was wondering what your input was on that.
Well, here's the reality. It's all about timing. Ideas are really important. And guys, we're speaking cryptically, but essentially, the industry is falling apart. More guys are being harmed than ever before. We're out there, beating our drums. And luckily people find us and we're able to help them for the most part. In some cases, they're not helped. They end up going to a physician. And like I say, there's not an IHS member who doesn't have an unhappy patient or even several unhappy patients out there. That's the nature of cosmetic surgery. But at least they go in with the entire scope and understanding all the possible pitfalls of what's happening. We got a call to the UK show, which we are actually, it's up and running again. And I did the UK show with Specs. And we got a call this week about, from a guy who read Specs' article in the Apple, what is it, Ape to Men blog. Yeah.
Apple News.
Apple News.
Yeah, no.
Ape to Men, which is apparently, dude, you just went black. Oh, which is apparently it's really popular. And this particular article got over a million views, which is significant. This guy, so it was that article, and I think this speaks volumes. And I want to say this, and guys, we have a full board, so we'll take your calls in a second, and Joe will talk about what you want to talk about. But I think this is really important information. So this guy reads the top 20 hair transplant surgeons in the world. An article that was very controversial amongst those who were not put on this list. And what I try to explain to those who were not put on this list, first of all, I was getting calls from guys in the IHS who were like, how can you separate some doctors from other doctors? I'm like, you might want to read the byline, dude. I didn't write this fucking thing. You know, what am I? I mean, that would be professional suicide. What kind of an idiot do you think I am?
Well. I remember that well.
Professional suicide. I said to him, Dr. So-and-so, I want you to just step back from this and think about this. You know, I'm like, I
said your doctor hat on for a minute.
Yeah, I'm like,
think about this.
And you know, you're supposed to be a critical thinker here. I said, I take pride in a few things in my life. One is my oral hygiene, and the second is not being a fucking idiot. You know? And I explained how it would be professional suicide. And he's like, so you had nothing to do with this because it's all IHS members. And I said, anybody who is ethical in this field will only promote and work with IHS members, period. It has nothing to do with me.
Ooh.
That's the truth. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reality of this field. So anyone who is out there recommending or talking to doctors or working with doctors, separate and apart, who is ethical and wants to ensure that at the very least they're doing their best to make sure that these people are finding the best doctors. They're working with the IHS. They're working only with IHS members. End of subject. Yeah. This guy calls in, but you know, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, and it's taking me forever. Sorry, guys, but the point that I'm trying to make is this guy called in. He read this article, which is very visible, and it wasn't in his mind just about the top 20 doctors. It was the education that Spencer Stevenson gave about the industry. This guy was booked to go to Turkey. And we'll be putting up this segment. Booked to go to fucking Turkey. 39-year-old guy. And he thought, you know, it was all the same, had no clue what was going on in the industry. Realized that, you know, he was going for an inexpensive hair transplant, thought it was all the same. That article changed his mind. He learned about the IHS. Now he knows about Joe Tillman because, you know, the bald truth is mentioned. Mm-hmm. And what he's decided to do is save his money. And when the time is right, if he decides to have surgery, do it with someone in his country, or he's willing to fly to North America. You know, he's from the UK. Mm-hmm. But I think most importantly, he put the brakes on everything. And so I basically said, listen, save your money, put it in a jar. A year from now, you may not want surgery. You could buy yourself a fucking car.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the point was that article was incredibly powerful. And it wasn't about doctors being left out. No magazine or no, or blog wants you to put the 100 top doctors in hair transplant surgery. They want a top 10 list, a top 20 list.
Yeah.
That's the way that it works. And there were a couple of guys that really embarrassed themselves. One publicly because he wasn't included on the list.
Ooh, that was bad. That was such a bad move on his part.
I have never seen anything like this industry. Like, look.
Imagine if I did that.
This is what I would have done. You know, and what was interesting, the guy that he works with was on the list. I would have said, you know what? I would like to go. Congratulations to those who made this article. You know, and then really talk about the article. I want to congratulate my colleague and friend, Dr. So-and-so, for being part of this list. Now, that's a fucking mensch move. That's what you do as a man.
Of course.
You know? Jesus. Anyway.
There are some people that lost their
But so to circle back around and to get back to what I was talking about with, you know, the ISHS's new campaign and all this stuff, it's all about storytelling. It's all about having a strong third-party content and information to get out to the public. With that one article, thousands of people had chose not to go to Turkey or to India or wherever they were going to go to get a cheap hair transplant. And if they did go to Turkey, they ended up finding a doctor who was at least reasonable.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what these guys don't see. You can't fight the fight when no one knows what the fuck the fight means. You don't know what the fucking fight means, there's no fighting the fight. It's great to put up your hands and say, we're all on board to make sure that no one gets harmed. Terrific. I could say a lot of things. You know? I could say I want fucking world peace. I'm on board for world peace. Fight the fight.
It's not going to do anything.
For world peace.
Fight the fight.
You know you know what would do something? If you guys fucking figured it out and realized, you know what? Maybe we should work with the guys who know what's going on, the guys that actually get the most eyeballs in the real world. I'm not talking about your world. Maybe then we could use our resources to help affect change. Because meanwhile, there are people, and some people may be on the phone right now, who they're not going to know what the fuck's going on. They're being harmed. There are thousands of guys had their lives destroyed. I'm not talking about guys who may be unhappy with their hair transplants. I'm talking about guys who actually are destroyed today by their hair transplant. Unrepairable, will never look normal again. But let me tell you something. Everyone who finds this broadcast, at the very least, is armed with that information and the possibility that could happen. Joe, sorry, long opening. I just thought it was important to talk about.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I mean, look, this show alone has saved, like, I can't count how many times people have written to me, written to you, called in to the show to say, you guys saved me. I was going to have a hair transplant at this place or that place or this kind of transplant, or, I was told this or told that. You guys showed me the way. Thank you. And that's just like, I mean, we just hear from people, which it's like the tip of the iceberg of everyone that's actually affected.
Oh yeah.
And, I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube for the past few years.
Guys, we will get to your calls. Just hold on, don't hang up. We want to take your calls in a second.
But I noticed, I'll talk about this a little bit too. I noticed there was a new YouTube influencer that was talking about his upcoming hair transplant.
Yeah.
And he actually mentions the clinic, and I decided, well, I'll check this place out. They don't do hair transplant surgery. It's a wig shop. Yeah. This guy says, I've agreed to be their ambassador with my hope of, my hope is to talk to those of you that are out there that don't have anyone to talk to about this. But you don't know anything about the surgery. What the hell it's just another dumb kid, and I don't mean that in an offensive way. He doesn't know anything about life.
Right.
He's got 834,000 subscribers. God bless him. But he knows nothing about the procedure, and the clinic that he's being an ambassador for doesn't even perform fucking hair transplant surgery. What they do is they send people off to the doctor of the week that they're contracting with, or maybe to Turkey, or maybe to Romania or Poland, or God knows where they go. But they don't, there's nothing about who's doing the surgery, where it's done, how it's done on this studio's website, because it's not a clinic, it's a wig studio.
It's a hair studio, yeah.
They do it.
It's a hair replacement. It's a hair replacement company.
It's a wig shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
wig.
It's like nothing.
Wig.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just be honest about who you are, what you're doing, what you're offering. It's like that's one of the things I've never ever liked. It's like I have no problem with hair systems, with wigs, none whatsoever. They've done a lot of good for a lot of people that just can't handle not having hair. And some of them look really good. But one of the things I've hated since I found out about these places, before I even got in the industry, is how they try to fool you into thinking it's not a wig. Strand by strand grafting.
Dude, I was this poor woman's worst nightmare when I went to the hair club. She'd never met any motherfucker like me. I would not let her out of the room until she told me exactly what she was trying to sell me.
Yeah.
I mean, she was sweating. She was bringing in she was trying to hold, a hand off the fucking sale to somebody else. It was just.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to let me go. I'm like.
Just don't use the W word.
Yeah,
I'm like. Say the W word.
I'm like, I want to see exactly what you're doing. I want to see exactly what you're selling me. I want to see. And then so they bring in somebody who's wearing it, and I'm just like, I mean, he looked pretty good. I've seen him on television before, but I'm like, all right, so what is it? Is it a wig? How do you get it on? And they're like, no, it's a strand by strand system with that's built into a matrix.
Yeah.
And we
strand by strand system built into a matrix.
Right.
God,
we incorporate your own hair. I'm like, how would you get that on me anyway? Well, no, we incorporate your own hair through the mesh, And this way, if you continue to lose your hair, which you will, then no one would notice. And I'm like, I would like to see that process.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there. I was there with my girlfriend at the time, who didn't understand why I was giving this person such a hard time. She was pretty new to as a girlfriend, so she didn't really know. She didn't really see that side of me yet.
Yeah.
Finally, this woman looks like she's about to cry, and she says, "Yes, it's we call it a hair system." I'm like, "Can you show me how it's put on?" She's just like, "Well, it doesn't seem like you want your hair back." I'm like, "I want my hair back. I don't want to fucking glue somebody else's hair on. Where are you going to put it?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Let me see the mesh." I'm like, so they finally show me this thing. It's so you can't get your hair through that. So anyway, that's this industry in a nutshell. It has not changed one iota. And for every one of the 200,000 that wake up every day facing hair loss and recognizing that they're losing their hair for the first time, they have Google. The first thing you look, even if they look up the American Hair Loss Association, all these motherfuckers have taken ads around that keyword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
That is the way that it is. And people are like, hey, we're not going to read about anything on the American Hair Loss Association. I don't need to learn about this shit. I just need to get fixed.
Yep.
And then they get fucked up. Anyway, listen, do you want to take a phone call?
Yeah, let's take a phone call.
All right, guys, 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. I'll take line one. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from South Florida.
Morty, man, you've been holding on for a long time. How are you?
Good, man. It's good to hear from you guys. I'm glad that I caught you. It's just a dumb luck here. I'm loving this subject, by the way. And I watched your video, Joe. I think it's fantastic, and hopefully that celebrity is listening, because it is a little ridiculous. It's funny because I remember the first time I actually interacted with a hair loss professional, except maybe when I was in my 20s and I went to go to the hair club back in I think it must have been the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Was when I went to go see Dr. Wesley. And, before I made the appointment, it was like, oh, you have to pay Dr. Wesley to see you. And I remember you, Spencer, you basically shook your finger at me and say, you better pay him because he's a real medical professional and he deserves to be paid. But then you've got these guys, basically, who are charging money for people who aren't professionals. They're just, charlatans, as you guys point out.
Right.
And it's really fucked up. I mean, it's more hilarious. I don't know if you guys caught this week, Matt Bauman has actually put out a video where he's talking about his second hair transplant. And in not so many words, he basically admitted to being one of the walking wounded, admitting that maybe going to Turkey wasn't the smartest idea.
Yeah, he has admitted that. Yeah, he has.
Wait a second. Does he still have his links up to the Turkish clinics?
Yes.
So you telling me that this guy basically said, "Hey, I fucked up, but you know what?
But you should go there yourself.
You should go there yourself and give it a shot because I'm going to make some money from it." That is wild. Yeah. I have nothing against this guy. I'm a capitalist. I understand. You got to make money in this world, but that is wild to me.
I can't confirm that because I'm not just to be fair. Fair is fair. I've read this. Other people saying this. I've not looked for myself. I've not bothered to go to all of his current videos to see if it's still there.
I think the guy's an engaging guy. I think that he actually could do a lot of good. He really can.
You know what? Here's the thing. I reached out to him a long time ago and offered to help him get the right information out there.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Well, we reached out to a couple of guys, and and they're just like...
But here's the thing. He's one of the guys who was basically doing the consulting. He says, before you go and do XYZ, you contact me, and I will show you what to do. Well, and then here's the thing. He comes on and he says...
He's got... okay, so it's not just him. I mean, this is one of the things I was going to talk about on the show.
This is a great subject, by the way, Joe.
Yeah, we hadn't actually jumped into it yet. By the time you called, Morty, we were talking about something else, but this is a great segue, and we'll get back to you in just a second. But the subject of the of the broadcast today is, should you be paying for hair transplant consultations? And it's kind of there's multiple layers to this, because it depends on where you're going and what you're going for. I'm a big believer that if you're going to go for a hair transplant consultation with a clinic, and it's a reputable outfit, like not just reputable because of Real Self, but and not just reputable because they're featured locally in the paper. I mean nationally or internationally. Like they're on, like they're IAHRS members at the very least. Maybe work with me if you guys if you're interested in that. But the bottom line is, if they're reputable and you're serious about getting a solid piece of information about your specific situation, it's definitely something you want to pay for. And a lot of times people are like, "Oh, that's bullshit. Why should I have to pay for a hair transplant consultation?" Because why would you expect it to be worth anything if it's free? It's like one of the worst things I've seen put into place, and this started in the 70s, I think it was by Bosley, was the free consultation. You go to any other doctor in cosmetics, I can't say that 100%, but most other specialties, you're paying for your visit.
Well, I would say that the really well-respected plastic surgeons charge for a consultation. Now, that's a very competitive field too, so they are doing a lot of free consultations for plastic surgery as well. I actually, and luckily I'm not going to need this, and I'll be talking about this eventually, but I actually did consult with a couple of guys, because I'm kind of on the periphery of the field, about the potential of needing something done after I had my dermatological procedure. Yeah. And I would, now, they gave me professional courtesy, which is great, but one guy charges $250 for a consultation. Another guy charges $500 for a consultation. I would not go to anyone who doesn't charge for a consultation, period. And I would have, I offered, when they said, don't worry about it, it's free. I was grateful, but I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'd rather just pay you. You spend a lot of time with me. But then I said, fuck it, I can go get dinner instead of paying this guy.
Yeah. But I think that's a great distinguisher of quality. I mean, it's not down the line, because a lot of really great hair restoration specialists do not charge for consultations, but it's because everyone else isn't charging, so they feel like they have to compete.
I'll tell you an interesting story. We have a guy who's really, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, there's an increasing number of physicians that are starting to charge consultations, and I got to tell you, they feel like they're appreciated more, and that's the trick to this. It's, if you're going to pay $100, $200 for a hair transplant consultation, you're going to listen a little bit better than if it were free. That's a guarantee, because you want to get your money's worth, and 100%. I think that's important.
And you can ask a lot more questions. You're not going to be fearful of asking questions. You're going to go in there prepared because you're paying for it. And the physician is going to be willing to take the time. I know Paul McAndrews spends like an hour on a consultation. He doesn't have a patient advisor first sit you down and explain everything, which is not terrible. I mean, that's okay in some cases. But the entire consultation is him. He charges a lot of money for a consultation in this field. Yeah. And you know what? People are willing to pay it because he's a real fucking doctor. Now, I had an IHS member contacted me who, after hearing me talk about this in, I think it was FU Europe or somewhere, maybe it was an article that I wrote. I forgot what it was, but I think it was an article of that was in FU magazine. But essentially, I'm talking about, it's really, I think that all surgeons should charge for consultations. He tried it, and it was an abject failure in his practice. He said he went from doing 20 consultations a week to having 2 on the books. And you know how much he was charging? $50.
That's not enough.
Exactly. I believe that if he would have charged $250, those people would have booked for that consultation. Yeah. But you know what? It's all fear-based.
Well, I'd be interested to know how many of those 20 were actually booking surgery, and what kind of quality do they bring to the table as patients? Were they educated? Did they need hand holding? Versus those that did pay for the consultation, were they more informed? Were they more understanding of the process?
He's never going to, he won't, and it has nothing to do. I mean, he's a good guy, he's a good doctor, but him and his office manager, they're not going to ever find that out, because it freaked them out, and they started to do free consultations again, and then everyone is willing to come in.
Every clinic that I work with, that I've maneuvered them into setting up a fee for their consultations. Every one of them have seen an increase in the quality of the consultations, an increase in their booking ratio, and an increase in just the quality of the experience for the patients overall. Like, the patients are more appreciative, the patients understand more, and they love it. Like, their bookings have actually increased because of it.
Years ago, I never forget this conversation. I'm speaking to Alan Bauman, and we're talking about, always talking about the industry. And I'm like, how much do you charge for consultations? And he's like, I don't charge for consultations. This is, at the beginning.
Yeah,
no,
long time ago.
I said, start charging for consultations.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that set the standard, and he has the biggest facility in the country.
Yeah.
Now, 11,000 square foot hair transplant facility.
It's all because he started charging for consultations.
100%. I'm saying that is definitely what I believe that got the ball rolling, as far as, patients see that as as like, well, this guy's able to charge this much for a consultation. He must be great.
Yeah.
It adds value. It's tremendous value. It's not about the money.
What do you think about this, Morty?
Well, I have my answer, because I paid Dr. Wesley his $200 for his consultation. And I've seen other doctors. I went to see Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles didn't charge for consultation. Did it color my view of Dr. Charles versus Dr. Wesley? A little. So I obviously haven't pulled the trigger with anyone yet. But yeah, I did. I think it may have colored my view of Dr. Charles in some respect. I mean, I can tell you this much in terms of Bauman. Bauman's intimidating. I think that Dr. Charles was more approachable. I felt that he was more approachable. We've already talked in another show about other issues with Dr. Charles.
He's a very approachable guy. He's like very likable.
Exactly.
Listen, Dr. Bauman's very approachable in my view as well. But I've never been in that position where you were. I haven't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As a potential
Is
client.
it because of Dr. Bauman's like, he's got a bit more of a celebrity type of presence? Is that why?
I think it's because he looks a little like Quentin Tarantino.
Well, he's been in. Well, it's not even about that. I mean, it's more like, all of the TV press that he's gotten. The whole, like, I guess that's really it. He seems really present and out there in terms of, like I said, his TV presence and like I said, the size of his facility, which again makes he's like tippy top tier. And maybe it's just my own personal what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence in terms of what I quote unquote deserve out of a hair transplant doctor. I have no idea what he would charge me, but there's this perception, at least on my part, that hey, Bauman's going to be really pricey because he's on TV and he's got the fancy facility and all the rest of it.
Well, that's exactly you're exactly right. Yeah. He's able to command. I tell all these guys, and I really believe this. It's whatever the market will bear. And everybody has the ability to choose what their market will bear based on how they perform. Period.
Yeah.
Does it mean that I've written him off? Absolutely not. I haven't gotten around to talking to him yet. As you know, that I'm in this kind of area where I'm deciding where I'm going to basically be living, and I'm leaning toward returning home to New York City, and that's going to play a big part in terms of who I'm going to end up with. But I'm definitely going to end up with IHRS, and that's something which I really value, and I value what you said earlier, Spencer, and in terms of that. But the idea of consultations, you're going to be paying for a consultation with somebody who isn't even going to do the work. That definitely seems a little sketchy to me.
Well, yeah. I think, well, first of all, there are, and I don't know if Joe mentioned this, I don't listen to when he's talking most of the time, but just
likewise.
Yeah, but
oh, hey, Spencer.
Yeah,
I know you're there.
There are guys online who not only are they selling products, you know, but they're selling services. They're selling their time. They're charging people for their time.
Well, that's what I was segueing into. Thank you for taking it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, talk about that.
I want to give Morty a little bit of time to talk, since he took the time to call us. But and this is what Morty was leading into, are these online guys that have never worked in a clinic, that have had maybe one surgery, and not only are they offering consultations, they're charging for it.
They're charging like $30,000.
Well, that's
exactly.
Okay. Well, that's a different thing. I heard that's like one of them out there has a post-surgical support plan over the course of 12 weeks that he's charging 3,000 euros for.
You gotta love it. You know what? This is how I feel about it. I am a capitalist.
Just what I heard?
I'm a capitalist. This is how I feel about it. If someone is dumb enough to do that, then God bless them. Just like P.T. Barnum, man. There's a sucker born every fucking minute.
Yeah. And when they want their hair, there's like 1,000 born every minute. Because if there's one guy that signs up for this, I'd be shocked. I'm sure that there's at least 10, 15 people that have signed up for it, and the kid's making some bank. Good for him, but fucking stupid on the people that are signing up. It's like, this is what the clinic is supposed to be doing to begin with. They're supposed to be with you, like, you got a question, you call them, email them, go to the clinic, whatever. They're supposed to be there for you, like, forever. Like, if you got questions about your hair transplant, they're always going to support you. And for someone to charge you for that, and you pay for it, you have, like, I don't care what this kid is offering. If anyone says, yeah, I'll pay you anything for a support package, even though you don't work for my clinic, you got to be the dumbest. That is just beyond stupid. What the hell is wrong with you?
Going to Best Buy, like, am I going to go to Best Buy and buy a support contract for something that I bought from Best Buy? Well, okay, maybe, because they can actually do something about it. But
but you're not going to go. You're not going to go on Craigslist and pay Bob from down the street $3,000 to support your TV. It's like, no.
Exactly.
That's exactly. Let me go to Craigslist or let me go to YouTube and find some guy that had a hair transplant, and I'm going to pay him thousands of dollars to support me.
A bad hair transplant.
But this is what I love about this world.
Transplant, what he himself admitted was bad, because he's going in for a repair, and he just but basically said that he was going in for a repair, and basically said that he wasn't going to go to Turkey for it.
Right, and it's amazing. But this is what I love about this world, and I love about this country. And I mean, I am a capitalist through and through. Now, in my view, sending people in the wrong direction, that's not great. But if his end game is just to make money off of these guys, and he's giving them the best advice that he thinks that he can, then who am I to say anything? You guys are just suckers. That's all. God bless him. Let him make, and I'm serious. Let him make all the possible money he can, as long as he's not harming people. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants. That's how I feel about it.
But that's the thing. He is harming people, man. That's the problem.
I think there's a strong chance of it, simply because he's got zero experience in a clinical environment.
Listen, I agree with you guys. I'm just saying, if the guy's not harming people, I don't know if he is or he isn't, then if people are idiots, stupid enough to pay this guy or anybody, that's what makes the world go around, man. Idiots. It's not the smart people that make the world go around, in my view. It's the idiots that make the world go around.
Yeah, 100%.
That the idiots fuel so many businesses and so many people's careers, and I love listening to inspirational guys and all these guys. But would I ever pay to go to some fucking seminar and walk across fucking hot coals and all that stuff? No. That's for the idiots. Let the idiots pay for that. I will take whatever information that I can glean from any of the public offerings that these motivational speakers do, and that's it.
I never understood that. I can for free. I can go walk on my barbecue.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's the thing. It's like there is, again, with this post-op support package that I've heard about. It's like I don't know what's in it, but it's like there's nothing in the support package. There's no new idea. There's nothing that you can't find out from your clinic, which is actually the only support package you need to be worrying about to begin with. In fact, I see people on Bald Truth Talk saying, "Hey, I'm 3 months out from my surgery. Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that?" I jump in and I say, no matter what anyone here says, it's fucking irrelevant. You need to ask your clinic this question, and you need to follow their instructions. Because, and here's another thing. If you don't follow the instructions of the clinic that you went to, and you pay some guy, even if you don't pay some guy, you follow the advice of someone that doesn't work with that clinic, and then your growth doesn't turn out the way that you want it, guess who doesn't get a free touch-up because they didn't follow the clinic's instructions? Dummy doesn't get the support. He doesn't get the touch-up. Because that's the thing. Just here's another way here's a way that clinics can get out of their guarantees that they shouldn't be offering to begin with. Well, you didn't follow our post-op instructions. So, we don't know what happened to your grafts. Sorry. That's the way it works. So don't follow, I get the question all the time, should I be doing this? Well, I think this, this, and this, but you should contact your clinic and find out from them because they're the ones that worked on you, not me. That's what it should be.
Yeah. There is one thing that I think a clinic should guarantee, and that's a standard of care. Not necessarily a result, but a standard of care. And what I'm hearing is they're trying to weasel their way out of it with all of these secondary and tertiary idiots getting involved.
I would say, it depends. I mean, what do you mean by the standard of care? You're talking about you guaranteeing
I'm talking about, cleanliness. I'm talking about, safety protocols. I'm talking about, I guess I'm talking about the credentials of the people who are involved, basically that,
Yeah, I agree. That's what we've been trying to do forever. It's insane, actually, what goes on. When I ask these doctors, even IHS members, I think it's, we created the IHS
the
site.
aftercare would be standard of care. I mean, sorry.
Say it again. What was that?
Aftercare?
Yeah, aftercare as well.
That's part of the standard of care.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, I think it's important that everyone who's involved with your surgery is known and that you know them prior to signing up for surgery, that you know that, okay, if we use technicians in our practice, and if the technicians are going to be, if it's legal, and they're going to be the ones extracting grafts during FUE, these are their credentials, these are their names. There has to be some accountability as well. And there are doctors out there, and I've spoken to them, they're like, you know what, I don't want to put my technicians out there because I don't want people to poach them. I don't want other doctors to poach my technicians. This is how disgusting this fucking industry is. And I'm talking about even the good guys. Some of the good guys think this way.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, I can understand that. But, let's say that you're going in for a consult and you've paid the consulting fee. That stuff should be available to you.
100%.
Then you don't have to worry about poaching. Okay, I'm clearly coming at this from the patient's perspective. I am not going to poach your technician. I just want to know that I've got a good technician.
There's a lot of secret shopping done in this industry as well, and so they're worried about. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, these guys they're so fucking paranoid, and the way this business has been run and this industry has been run, it's just so cutthroat and disgusting and just repugnant.
Well, the truth of the matter is that if the physician is paying his or her technicians well, then there's no reason for them to be poached to begin with. Treat them well, with respect, with the right money, and they'll stick with you. It's that's all there is to it.
I think it's more about the culture they create as well. If someone offers them a little bit more money, if they really enjoy the culture that they're working in, they're not going to leave.
And that's what, and that's why I like when I had my FUE surgery with Dr. Wong, I was very clear that Dr. Wong did not do the extractions. His technician Raluca did, and she did a fucking bang up job. There's no evidence at all that I had any FUE surgery. She did it.
Now,
the
did you
right
ever
way.
have any issues with that? Any physicians ever take issue with that?
Oh yeah, there's one yeah, there's one doctor that he became confused. He thought, well, Joe, I thought you only worked with doctors that do all the work themselves. Why would anyone think that? I have never said that that's the only standard. I've never said that that's the only kind of physician I work with.
So you'll be relegated to 3 doctors.
Yeah, exactly. My position has always been that if technicians are doing the procedure and it's legal and they're obviously doing a good job, then there's nothing wrong with it at all. And I don't think anyone has the right to say otherwise.
And I have to
Because if
say
it's
that
legal-
a lot of these physicians, these technicians, have so much more time on tissue, and just this is the way that it's worked. And guys, we'll take your calls in a second. I know that we were keeping Morty on for a while, and we're talking a lot about this stuff, but it's important stuff.
That's okay. I'm enjoying it, guys.
Well, I appreciate that.
We're enjoying you.
We
Morty.
appreciate you, Morty. But what was my point? I'm hungover. So the issue as it stands is none of these technicians would be in the position to be working for themselves or be per diem technicians or working for companies like Neograft or whatever it is, if it wasn't a fucking doctor who's now complaining about it, who didn't train them, put that punch in their hand and show them how to make this happen and say, you know what, I'm going to show you how to do this so that my life can be easier. And that's how it all started. The doctors who are now fighting this are the ones that started this.
That enabled this. Exactly.
Enabled it, period.
Yeah.
And some of the loudest mouths out there gave their technicians some of the most, let's say, the most latitude in their practices. Gave them a lot of responsibility that may or may not have been legal. But now that it's hurting them, their bottom line, they don't want to see that happening.
Yeah. Read what they sow.
Yeah. All these guys are
There you
idiots. Not all of them, obviously. I mean, I work with some really great doctors and some good people. But in general, especially the politicians, in my view, it's I don't even know I don't even understand how they make it through life. When I see the stuff that they put online, when I hear them speak, it's unbelievable. And they're performing surgery on people. It's fucking scary, man.
I don't see how some of them can put on their fucking pants.
One guy in particular, man, that just I have to laugh every time I see him. Like either make a comment, or it's just
because you know it's just so thin and like just meaningless what he's saying.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. He's actually going to be very pissed at me soon about something that I'm an area that I'm getting into. He's going to be very pissed.
Well, I think a lot of people will be pissed, more so than they already are.
Anyway, Morty, always a pleasure. Thank you for your contribution to the Bald Truth, as always.
I appreciate you guys tremendously. I hope, Spence, I hope you're healing up well. And Joe, keep those videos coming. I'll keep on watching and keep on liking them. And everybody who's listening, everyone who's listening, make sure you like this video. So let these guys get upset like they did the last time and then disappear on us. Like the video.
All right, Morty, listen. Thank you. Take care.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I wish I could duplicate this voice without having to drink myself into a coma. But
it's also a good excuse. It's like, Spencer, you need to stop drinking, but it's for my voice.
It's for my voice. Yeah.
In a world.
It's unbelievable. All right, let's see who this is.
Trailer voice imitation.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, it's Rolando from UK. How you doing?
Hey man, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
Rolando.
What's the name? What do you say?
Rolando? Alonda?
Wait,
Rolanda.
Are you in the chat room as well? Rolandus.
Oh yes, I am. That's it.
Stelinkavicius.
Don't even bother to pronounce it.
I tried.
Welcome, man. What's happening?
To hear me well, actually, or not really?
We hear you very well.
Yeah, very well.
Seems like a good.
Hold on.
Now we don't.
Hold
Are
on.
you there?
Yeah. Go ahead, speak.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, just my headphones. How are you doing today? You good?
We're doing good, man. What's happening?
Beautiful day.
Couple of questions as always. First of all, I'll try to be on the subject. So my point of view on the paying for consultations is, I think, is absolutely worth it. Like Joe said, if you're going there, you're paying money, you're literally gonna listen to every single word. So, and I believe like every single surgeon is supposed to do it because, I mean, only in this way they're gonna actually put some, put some thoughts in that, and they're gonna examine you properly. So, yeah, I mean that's what I think. Because if it's cheap, if it's gonna be a free consultation, they wouldn't care too much.
Well,
That's what I think.
There's so much to this, and the whole psychology of getting people through the door and converting leads and everything that's really this industry has turned into, sadly, has made it very a difficult place for consumers to navigate. Excuse me, but even a more difficult place for physicians to work, environment for physicians to work in now. This is all self-inflicted wounds, and I definitely think that you're going to see a doctor, you're going to have surgery, you should have a consultation with a doctor. And Joe, you were a consultant.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes.
And they were lucky to have you there because
Yes.
you actually cared. But in general, most of the guys who are consulting for doctors, they are very limited in their scope of knowledge, limited to what they've learned in the clinic. And some of them are just limited to the fact that, they will not keep their jobs unless they are making sales.
Yeah, and that's an important point for people to remember is that consultants in general that do work for clinics usually they are on a commission. So yeah, there's a strong incentive for them to close a sale. Basic rule of sales, ABC, is always be closing. But I was never on commission. I was always salary because I didn't want that pressure, that inducement. But I can say that once the clinic did transfer to consultations that were not free, it improved everything. Because a lot of you guys out there, when you have your consultations, you're doing one of a few things. You're going in just to get a script for Finasteride. You're going in to get a game plan that you can take to other clinics and have them give you price estimates. And I know how the game works. I know what you guys are doing, and that's not really the right way to do things. Like if you're going to go in and take up that much time of a doctor's take a doctor away from a surgery, you need to go in there with real intentions of getting a quality consultation that you're going to consider. So, I mean, there are multiple reasons why I think it's a good idea. But once that was done, the clinic was getting much higher quality potential patients because they were coming in for real consultation. They weren't coming in just to kick the tires. They already did their pre-consultation research and knew a lot about the clinic before they even set their foot in the door, which is great. So I think that when people have to pay for a consultation at a clinic, then it either discourages them from coming to begin with, which means that they weren't that serious usually, or it encourages them to really double down on their own research and their commitment to make sure that they're going to make the most out of this consultation as possible. Someone say something.
I don't want to say anything. Let the caller speak. Give this fucking guy a chance. He called the show, for crying out loud.
From England.
Answer. There's nothing else to say. Joe or Spencer, actually, got a question that actually another guy in the chat room was wondering about.
Okay.
It's related to good old Finasteride. Just wondering, like probably I've been annoying with the my super regrow things, but I've got a lot of vellus hairs, like new ones that are coming out, and I'm just wondering, is it like possible that they're gonna properly mature, or they're gonna just stay as a vellus?
You know, there's no, you really don't know. I've known a lot of guys who, you know, they've gotten on medication. They see a lot of vellus hair, and it kind of just stays there, or sometimes it acts as good underground. Normally, though, if the hair is producing again, you know, or you see it start to produce again, where now there's, you know, where there was no hair, you actually can see visible changes. There's a good chance that hair can mature and eventually become, you know, viable hair. But
yes,
there's really no guarantees. Sometimes it'll just get to the point where, the life cycle just stays very short, and now you're just seeing more vellus hair than you saw before. And then sometimes it will take on a normal life cycle and start to mature in time. So I always say it's a good sign. If you're seeing new vellus hair, that probably means that at the very least the miniaturization process is slowing down or reversing for you, and that the drug is working and doing, you know, at what it does best, which is maintaining what you have.
How long has it been on medication?
I don't know.
Started in June, but there was like a underdosing. But on the full dose, 1 milligram, I'm like, it's my second month. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? Go ahead, Jeff.
Good sign.
Yeah, it's a very good
sign. Sorry. And these vellus hairs are new?
Yes, so many of them.
Oh,
it's
brother,
like,
that's a good sign.
On the actual
that's a good
hairline, like, it's crazy. Joe, if you don't mind, I can send you pictures right now, and so you can have a look. I've got like a couple of comparisons, if you're just, you know, curious. And I just would love to hear your take on that, if that's possible.
Sure. You got my email address?
What was it?
Admin, ADMIN.
Yeah.
At hairtransplantmentor.com.
Gotcha. Okay. I just sent it right now. Should get it any moment. Yeah, so like I said, I'm on a Norwood 5 or 6, but diffused. But at this point, if all of this vellus hair would actually mature, I would be pretty much like a Norwood 3 at most, maybe even Norwood. It, like, just that. I mean, just that looks to me. So I'm just, you know, curious.
Well, you're listening. You're new in the game. You're new in the game essentially as far as taking this medication. You're seeing all this vellus hair. It is possible that you're going to be one of these really great responders. I've seen guys who've, I mean, they've gone from 4s to like 2.5 on the scale, and like basically just like completely changed their appearance. Now that's rare.
Saw Norwood 6 fly from Tasmania to show me that he was a Norwood 2 after his treatment.
Yeah. I absolutely believe, and that's why I'm such a proponent, and it changed my life, that you know, I was obviously a really good responder, but I also started early, very early in my process. Now, if I would have started earlier, I probably wouldn't have to have the semi-comb over that I have right now. But, dude, I'm the luckiest man alive. That's how I feel.
I wish I could have started earlier as well.
Several counts. Say that again?
I wish I could have started earlier as well. I started when I was, like, not in the best position, let's say. But, again, I'm super happy what I see so far. So, yeah. Joe, did you get the pictures?
No, nothing's coming yet. It'll probably take some time. So.
Okay. Yeah, another thing that I feel like for me, even the minoxidil is working extremely well, because I started minoxidil with derma rolling since January, and I've been using it properly twice a day. And even minoxidil, like, I'm not sure if it regrew, but I think it thickened quite a lot the hairs on the crown, all the way to the like a mid scalp, let's say. So yeah, and now I feel like just combination with Finasteride is just great. It's an amazing job. So yeah, no side effects. as far as I know. So yeah, I would just encourage everyone just to think about it as well.
Well, listen, I think it's always great to hear from somebody who initially may have been a little concerned about using finasteride and then decided to take it, and they're seeing good results. And I think the moral of the story is, you know, if you want to keep your hair, the only choice you really have is to give the drug a shot. That's it. And a lot of guys wait till the point where it's almost the point of no return. Go ahead.
So I got the photos here, Rolandus. I'm guessing that the photo with your blue shirt is the before image?
That's right. Sorry, I forgot to mention. I mean, clearly, right?
Well,
that was
you didn't need to tell me because it's obvious. I can see. Jesus Christ. This is a hell of a turn. Like, since June, you said?
Finasteride since June. This picture with the blue T-shirt has been made last December.
Okay. I have a question for you, by the way. You're calling from the UK, right? Are you calling the UK line, or are you calling through the toll-free in the US?
In the US, I guess. I'm calling through Skype.
Oh, you're calling through Skype. So you're calling through 888-659-3727.
That's right, yeah.
You're getting through. That's great. Okay.
Nice.
Because there's a doctor in Greece who's been trying to get through, and I can't call him back because all the lines are lit. And as soon as I pick up the phone, then, you know, someone's going to be calling in. So I'm trying to see which number he should use, and I guess he can probably get through on the toll-free.
Wow.
I'm assuming.
Guys, there's another question in the chat that I was about to ask as well. What's your opinion on doctor from Portugal, Bruno Ferrara?
Joe?
Yeah, I think that
he's an up-and-comer.
Yeah, I think that he's potentially one of the future top names in the industry.
Let's put it this way: if he, gets to the point where he chooses to apply to the IHRS, I would absolutely. I don't think he has enough cases under his belt to be an actual full member at this point, but I think that the work is, and I could be wrong, but I think that the work that I'm seeing is so top-notch that absolutely bring him on as an associate. And I'd like to see young, fresh faces who really care about what they're doing kind of be the new leaders in this field.
Here's the thing about Dr. Ferrara. I've known him since I met him in 2013 at the hair conference in San Francisco, and he came up to me. This was really funny for me because I hadn't been to a conference, one of the ISHRS conferences, in 9 years. I'd stayed away. It's like I was working for the clinic. I didn't need to go because one of the doctors I worked for didn't think that we needed to go. I went to this conference, and Dr. Ferrara and another doctor from South America somewhere, I can't remember, they both came up to me and wanted to have their picture taken with me. And that was like, it was the most bizarre thing I had ever been through in this industry, because I was just Joe from Hasson and Wong at the time. Yeah. But they recognized me, and my contributions in the on the forums is Joe-tronic, and I was really flattered. And Dr. Ferrara and I became friends a couple years later after that, because we ran into each other at another conference in Turkey, actually in Istanbul, and we've been friends ever since. And I think that if he's smart about his decisions in this industry, then the potential is there for him to be one of the greats. That's what I feel about him and his talent. But just like with any other doctor, they got to make the smart moves. So hopefully he will.
That's good to hear. Because the problem with him looks like there's a very limited cases you can see online. Literally you can count on your fingers how many you can.
Well, I do know. Sorry to interrupt, but I do know that before he was independent, he was working for a clinic in I think it was in Porto, where he's based, and it was a clinic that he was contracted to work for. He was there for at least a few years. I don't know how long exactly, but I think maybe 4 or 5 years. And he did a lot of work there, but they owned the rights to the before and after photos, so he couldn't take them with him. So that's the problem. Like he's got He's got a lot more experience than his gallery will let on. Coincidentally, he's not just working for himself. He's also working for Jose Lorenzo at Endorsement Capilar in Madrid. He works there a couple days a week as well.
So I mean, he's at a point. He's at a point where he's still hustling and trying to make a name for himself. But he has a lot more time on tissue than I think a lot of people realize. And he's a young guy. He's like a kid. I had him here. I had him in studio, TBT Studios. And I'm sitting across from this guy. I'm like, this guy looks like a fucking kid.
Yeah, he looks like he's 16 years old. He's got his driver's license. He's a hell of a guitarist. Like he's got a rock band too. He's really good.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. I'm like, Jesus, I'm getting old. This guy's a doctor.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen, man, we're going to take some more calls. I hope we were able to help you out and answer your questions.
Definitely. Thanks so much. Appreciate your help, guys.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Cheers, guys. See you later.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Okay, our doctor who's in Greece, there is a line open. The phone number is 888-659-3727, 888-659-3727. We're going to take another call in the meanwhile, and that line is still open. So give us a call right now if you want. I just put line open. Joe, maybe you can communicate with him. It's on your... It's on...
Is he in the chat room?
No. He's on Facebook. Under your post.
I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Dr. Konstantinos Anastatakis.
Anastasakis.
Yeah.
My boy. Let's see.
Give him a couple of options to call in. He put a number out that I don't recognize. I don't know if he's trying to call that or that's where he's calling from. But line is still open. All other lines are taken. We're going to take calls right now. 888-659-3727. Give him the UK line as well, just in case. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? All lines are taken now, so I don't know if he's going to be able to get in. Hey, man. What can we do for you?
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
We're doing pretty well. Who's this?
Cool. This is Colin from Baltimore. Nice to get through.
Colin.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, too, man.
Happy Friday. Happy November 1st.
Oh, thank you. Hope you all had a good Halloween.
Oh, man. I got hammered last night. So
you want to hear something crazy? I live in Baltimore.
You said you're hammered now?
Just say you're hammered now?
Oh.
So I'm handing out candy, and the kids come up and steal my candy bowl and run down the street, and I'm like, really? Oh, that's nice.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so I chase him down, and I'm this big guy. I'm 6'3", dressed up as Jason, and I did, guys, I just want the fucking bowl back. You can keep the candy.
Right.
All right? Just don't cook food in. But anyways, I was calling about a lot of times I always hear you guys talking about you need to be the right candidate for a hair transplant. How does one know if they are the right candidate? And let's say if they are taking Finasteride once a day and then they wait, do they have a consultation and do like a year, 6 months in advance to see how the hairs respond? Because I know sometimes people, the donor area can be very thin and you won't have optimal results. So I was just wondering, how does one know if they are suitable for a transplant? And
I think the first question you need to ask yourself, and I'll let Joe take it away, is if the transplant goes wrong, would you be able to handle that emotionally?
Right. I got you.
I mean, if that's, that's always the first question you need to ask yourself. Because if you know yourself and you can't handle that, then the rest, you don't even need to waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you can't handle it, then don't even go for it at all. Don't even consider it. But as far as the other aspects of what makes a good candidate, I'll let Joe touch on that.
I was trying to find who you're, like our friend in Greece on Facebook, so I didn't hear. Can you summarize what the question is?
The question is, he wants to know what makes a good candidate for a hair transplant. Who makes a good candidate?
Oh, okay. Well, I think first and foremost, you're going to love this, Spencer. The best candidate for a hair transplant is one that understands that it might not work out and has done everything possible to.
You really were not listening, were you?
Before, what is that? Am I wrong?
That's exactly what I said.
Okay. Well, that's not what I asked you. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. No.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. No, I wasn't listening. I was trying to find this doc. Sorry, Colin. Is it Colin?
All right.
It's Colin,
right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So all that aside, it's really too broad of a question to answer definitively, because I know what you're asking. I know what you're looking for. But the thing is it depends on expectations. It depends on type of procedure you're going to have. It depends on the donor density, the donor laxity, if you're going for FUT. There's so many things that have to be examined to determine the level of candidacy. Genetics, like family history. One of the first questions I would ask people in consultations is I'd ask them, not just what's the family history of hair loss on mother's and father's side, but which side of the family do you resemble the most? And this is something very few people ask, because I don't know why, but I've found that, like in my own family, it's like the side of the family that you resemble the most, if both sides have some sort of degree of hair loss, then you're likely, based on my own experience again, to follow the side of the family that you look like the most. In my own case, I'm the spitting image of my father. My brother, my baby brother, is a spitting image of my grandfather on my mother's side. I'm following my father's side of the family for hair loss. My little shithead asshole brother is following my mother's side of the family, meaning that he's maybe a 3A, and he's 46 years old or 44 years old. I was a Norwood 7 when I was 31. So that's why my little brother's a shithead asshole, because he's got better hair than me. But yeah, that's one thing I look at, and that helps to determine the long-term viability for surgery. But yeah, if you got good donor that can meet the issue of loss, and you got good expectations, and you've done everything that Spencer was talking about, then that's a good candidate.
I'm going off of that. When one has a consultation, does the doctor analyze your hairs to see if they're thin or if they're thick, or to see when it comes to that? Like, because I remember some of your videos on your page, how you were talking about once you turn your lifestyle a lot more healthy, eating natural, green vegetables, foods, the quality of hair changed immensely while you're prior to getting the transplant. So, and I know that also works with trying to preserve your hair as well, because cutting out smoking, less stress, it kind of just keeps the hair strong. So with that said, if you see, because most of the times, I know if you do a consultation, I'll say to Finasteride and follow up 6 months if they're a good doctor. Because I believe years ago, I called Hasson and Wong. I don't remember who the consultator was, but that was years ago, and I was still in my 20s, and I know that's suicide to get a hair transplant in your 20s. You should wait at least until you're 30 years old. And I didn't say consistent with Finasteride. Now I am. With that said, is when one goes and they analyze your hair, do they do it before and after, gauge what your density is like, if you have any improvement? Because I do believe you said that in one of your videos, like when you got your transplant, like Dr. Wong was able to see the gradual difference of how you responded to Finasteride, how you grew more hair.
Yeah, that was 9 months after my first repair with Dr. Wong. I had started Finasteride the day after my repair surgery, which in hindsight was not the way to do it. I should have been on it beforehand. But, well, actually I take that back. Not really, because I was a repair patient. I needed the help anyway, so it didn't matter. But that's the way most patients should do that. But 9 months after I had the procedure, the crown area, which he didn't touch in the first procedure, when he walked into his office on my 9-month follow-up, he noticed immediately that the bottom half of my crown had thickened, which was nice. It wasn't a huge difference, but he noticed it like immediately. And yeah, so I think that strengthening your hair as much as possible through whatever means is a good idea. And when you're talking about the diet thing, I need to, just to clarify, when I talk about diet and nutrition, I'm talking about, I don't know if it's going to prevent hair loss. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I think that if you eat clean, like you're not eating processed foods all the time. You're not going to the deli to eat processed meats instead of eating organic, farm raised, grass-fed meats, things like that. Like eating the right way. I think that your hair is given the best chance possible for aesthetics. Like it looks better. Like I experienced that myself when I switched over that kind of eating. I don't know if the density goes up, but just the quality of my hair improved significantly. Like it was shinier. I cut out all the sugar in my diet. Like I still eat very little sugar. I slip every once in a while just because I'm a chocolate fiend. But for the most part, I still keep a very low sugar intake in my nutrition level. Like in my coffee, I don't use sugar. I'll use stevia, which is you get used to it. but I think that.
So first of all, I want to thank you for the nap. It was well needed.
Guys, I was trying to find what is the official Instagram name? Because I've been typing the bald truth, I can't.
Spencer Kobren.
Yeah.
At Spencer Kobren. Okay,
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, because I've been trying to find, because I remember back earlier in the summer you just started working on an Instagram page, had some funny videos of your phone like dying. But
yeah.
Well, I appreciate all that advice. You have a great night, and have a good weekend.
All right, man. Listen, you take care. Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Bye.
But by the way, I just saw a video of this campaign. The first video that I saw. I just have to cry. I mean, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry. But if this organization paid anything more than $100 for that video, then, I mean, I can't even believe it. I can't even fucking believe it. I'm sorry.
The message was good. It was a good idea.
I think it was, and I think it was a message that you have been delivering and we have been delivering for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. However, the fucking stock imaging and just the kind of like the blood-looking thing, it's so fucking bad. It's just it's going to be such an ineffective way. I mean, God almighty. I mean, listen, the product is important, but timing is everything as well. And right now, they fucked up the timing by a decade. Okay? Something else has to be done. They might have been able to solve this problem when Ed Epstein contacted me back in 2008, and when I let these guys know exactly what needed to be done. They may be in a better position. Now, essentially what they're doing is they are fueling the fire. They don't even understand that. They are giving people, they are empowering these guys who are non-physicians and letting them know that, wait a second, we are really affecting these guys' bottom lines. This must be a great fucking business.
Apparently.
What they are providing is empowerment for the bad guys, not empowerment for the good guys. And I know that there's no way they can fucking see that. They don't understand it. And this is the one thing that I've learned in my career, in every aspect of my career, including, having the first of its kind home shopping show, which I don't talk about much on this broadcast, many, many, many moons ago. That was acquired when I was about 25 years old, is you have an idea, okay? And if everyone disagrees with that idea or doesn't understand that idea, usually it's a good idea. If you're the person who knows for sure that you can that something could be done, but no one necessarily understands it, then you have an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
None of these guys understand what the fuck we do. They don't understand how we will be able to change this field, and all they have to do is participate. And instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on nonsense that will do nothing but empower the bad guys, they just have to collaborate. Cost them nothing collectively. Nothing.
But Spencer...
All you want is the money. The money, Spencer.
Spencer.
Just the money. Like I said in our WhatsApp group, I can fucking cure. I could discover the fucking cure for cancer.
You're the Donald Trump of the hair transplant industry.
you know what's interesting? Someone else actually said that. A doctor said that. Basically, who is a big Trump supporter, and he said to me that this reminds me of the politics that are going on. That even if this guy does something good, even if this guy, changes the economy and does, however you feel about Trump, he's a real Trump guy. The government, the Democrats, and the media will never fucking say, okay, he did something okay. Something's working. Now, I'm not giving out my politics on the air. I don't like to talk about politics, but it's very interesting that you said that because this doctor told me this. We were having a conversation. He's like, and that's when I wrote, I can fucking cure cancer. And these guys would be like, oh, he just did it for the money.
But that's what I heard someone on one of the news shows say. He could, like, Donald Trump could cure cancer.
Yeah.
And he'd still be the devil.
Yeah. That's right.
Like someone with, like, people would find something wrong with it.
It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious, man. You know, for a little bit, for the cost of a fucking lunch that these guys spend on a daily basis.
That's expensive lunch, Spencer.
Yeah. Yeah. The cost of a fucking cheap lunch. They can be a part of something huge that will change this field overnight. All we need is the support. But no, Spencer, it's just about the money. We're just going to throw away $500,000 on bullshit.
That's about the money.
That's exactly about the money. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, mate. I'm online.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi, it's James. You all right?
Oh, hey,
Hello,
man.
James.
James, you're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me okay?
We can now, yes.
Yep, I was just moving near the window. Cool. What I was going to say to you guys, I wanted to speak to Joe, actually, because I was watching his video, the one you done on Theo Baker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mate, I really hope that Theo sees that video. He probably will. He probably has. And I really hope he pays attention to it, because I watched the actual video of him going to that clinic, and it's painful to watch. You know, that's a young man, a vulnerable young man with an insecurity, and he's being preyed on. And by the looks of him anyway, he doesn't look a great candidate for a transplant. You know,
the kid's normally 5A at best. Like he's doing a comb over. I never talked about that in the video, but you look at him and it's obvious he's got like there's 5A pattern loss going on. He's combing it forward or combing it over or something like that. It's a comb over.
I wasn't sure whether he dyed his hair because his hair's two different colours. You know, the donor area looks like dark and the top's like a bleached blonde colour. So
I'm not paying that much attention to his actual hair. I just saw him on his friend's one of the other guys that he cuts up with, Joe something, I forgot his name.
Joe Weller,
talking about
I think it is.
Yeah. He's got 3 different videos where it's on his own channel and then on this Joe guy's other channel, 2 videos where they're talking about it. And in the one on his own channel, Theo Baker's channel, he's talking about doing this, but then I don't know if he's like it cuts to a video of the consultant / owner of the clinic talking to someone off camera as if he's talking to Theo. He's not talking to Theo. That was a separate camera set up there just to get that part recorded. And they got the different angles of him talking off camera to someone, which is like a 30-year-old marketing tactic to give more realism to a sales pitch.
It was painful to watch. I mean, the fact he said as well, he's now become an ambassador. Did he say anything? International ambassador.
It's cringeworthy.
You know, and he's not even had
the surgery yet. I mean, I hope Theo, if he's listening to this, do not use that clinic, mate. Seriously, I'm in the UK. I've never heard of him. I've spoke to loads of people on Facebook and friends of mine.
We haven't heard of him because it's a hairpiece place. Like, they don't even do surgery.
That's right. The bloke that's doing the consultations wearing a wig. He's got a wig on.
Yeah. Which is not a first in the hair transplant industry, I might add. But
yeah, actually, I know a guy who is like one of the, I mean, working for a top clinic, who is one of the best hair transplant salespeople I have ever met. And this guy was able to sell this product wearing hair. It was wild. It was wild to me.
Yeah. Good thing it was a good product. So.
Well, that's the thing. He had a good product to sell.
Yeah. But yeah, if you like, I never heard of this kid before, and I know that I don't even know what his gig is.
I've heard of him. I've heard of him because my filter watching stuff. That's the only reason I heard of him.
I know that he talks about soccer, football, and that's all I know. And I know that he had Mia Khalifa on one of his YouTube episodes. That's where I got that photo from. I thought it'd be clickworthy.
Who's she?
But
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
she's like the hottest porn star on the planet that was in the industry for like a month.
But yeah, I'm glad you saw that, and you know, I think the more people in the UK see it, the more likely he'll see it, because that's how Kyle Christie saw the video I made about him. Some of his buddies saw it and sent it to him, and that's when he reached out to me. Yeah. I mean, Kyle Christie got fixed.
He needs to speak to you, mate. He can't go through with that. It's like I said, it's harrowing, and his head will be a write-off if he goes to that clinic. I mean, they're giving him, from what I saw on the consultation, they're giving him laser surgery before he has a transplant.
Laser treatment, not surgery, but yeah, laser.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
He's sitting under a laser dome for a few months because some places will, like places like this place, the wig place, they say, oh yeah, you need to condition your scalp with laser treatments for a few months, and I guarantee you, it's like $300 a week or something. They're not cheap. Yeah, it's just more money to milk out their patients, like a pre-surgical treatment. That's such horseshit.
I wonder what happened to poor Zach. I wonder how he's doing. From the Try Guys.
You know what? That was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I actually looked at this a couple days ago, and the latest video I saw him in, which was about a week ago, he's 5 or 6 months out. He doesn't look any different.
Yeah.
And they're not talking about it. There's not a special episode devoted to his results.
Oh, they're not going to talk about it.
No, they're not going to talk about it.
They signed away in that dotted line for that free surgery, and if something goes wrong, it's probably in that contract not to talk about it.
I should do a follow-up video. Hey, Zach, where are your results?
Yeah. How are you doing, my man?
Do it, mate.
Why don't you try to show us how it's going?
Well, listen, this is what I hope. I hope that it turns out good for him. I really do. I mean, it doesn't bring me any satisfaction to see somebody fucked up.
No, of course not. No.
You know?
No, mate. No, I feel the pain of these young vulnerable people, and if only clinics would just show them what could happen, because that's never going to happen, but that's what they need to be seeing. And like the last caller there, my advice to him is don't do it. I'm firm on don't get a transplant. Just shave your fucking shit and move on with life. Yeah, you'll be a lot stronger and a lot better for it, because the risk, I mean, recently, what I've seen in the news as well, there's been a few deaths as well from transplants, more than there was. I mean, they seem to be publicised a lot more now.
They're publicising them more, but I would say that it's more common than, I'm not saying it's common, it's rare, but it happens more often than you'd like to realize. There has been deaths here in California, deaths in Illinois, Chicagoland area, and we're not talking about third world countries. We're talking about right here in the United States. So it happens. There's lidocaine toxicity. You're going to clinics who don't even understand how to deal with that. Let alone, I mean, What's interesting about lidocaine is I would say that probably 90% of patients are actually experiencing some sort of form of lidocaine toxicity. They don't even realize it, because a lot of guys will tell me that their teeth kind of hurt through the surgery, or they felt a little bit weird around their jaw during the surgery. That is a mild form of lidocaine toxicity. And sometimes it takes a little bit more lidocaine than doctors would like to use in order to make this guy have a pain-free procedure. So if you have any type of issues with lidocaine, if you are on the wrong benzodiazepine, for instance, and it's working on that same pathway, people could fucking OD, man. They could have a fucking heart attack.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, and that seems to be what's happening. I mean, when I've seen that there's been a fatality, it seems to be overuse of the anaesthetic. I mean, that for me would just put me off straight away. If I was told that in a consultation, I'd be just walking straight out.
Well, what you want to know is that whoever is administering the anesthetic has a tremendous amount of experience. You want to make sure that they're a fucking physician that has been administering anesthetic for a long time. That's why at least with IHS members, I mean, there's a minimum of 500 cases just to apply to the organization. This means they have seen everything that can possibly go wrong in their own hands, and have had the time on tissue to make certain corrections. And I think that's a vital thing. When I have guys who are just contacting me who are getting into hair transplant surgery for the first time and they want to become members, what I do tell them is to contact other IHS members and to actually maybe see if you can get a pre-turnship, essentially, where you're working for a very small amount of money in the clinic, working with a physician. And there are physicians out there who will allow that because they want another doctor in there for a helping hand. But don't just fucking buy a machine and let these fucking, these per diem techs inject anesthetic into people's scalps. So, but anyway, listen, James, we're gonna take some more calls before we call in.
No worries. Listen, it's good speaking to you both.
You too, man. Thank you.
It's looking good, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye. The phone number is 888-659-3727. We're going to go for about another 15 minutes. So I don't know if that doctor ever got through, but we'll see. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Where are you calling from, man? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, great. I made it through. Awesome. Hi, this is Eddie. From Cali.
Eddie from California. What's happening?
All right.
Cali Eddie.
Hey. All right. Let me catch my breath here. Okay. So I told you guys a few weeks ago.
I hope you were jogging.
Yeah.
I'm not doing something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Remember, it's November.
Get in the house.
It's Movember.
Let's get inside the house.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I called you guys a few weeks ago. I scheduled a surgery with one doctor, and I need to accomplish two goals. One is to fix the temporal area. Like, I've got a little too much hair there, so they need to recycle some of the hairs. And then the scar tissue in the back. I need to fix that and see how much hair I can get from the donor area in the back. So I remember when I spoke to Joe, he said he recommends. I mentioned two doctors I was going to go to, and I believe that you were inferring that I do them separately with two different doctors instead of just going to one doctor and having them do it all at the same time. I don't know if you remember that
the
call.
conversation. Can you remind me what the situation is? You said you got some hairline work to be done and scar work to be done, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to go to Dr. Wong to do the hairline. The donor area, the scar revision, and get as many grafts as possible.
Okay.
And to fill in the front. But how can you do that? So I was considering doing the hairline also over there to recycle some of the hairs in the temporal area. They were a little too far down.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're kind of a little cryptic. I wasn't quite sure what you were inferring, whether I should do it at the same time. No, I think you said last time just do them separately.
Well, if I
Exactly.
understand properly, it needs to usually, and I believe this is because it's sight unseen. I don't know what you look like, but usually when you're doing hairline repair through extraction, and then you want to rebuild it at the same time, it's really difficult to do that because the area of the hairline that's being repaired, where the grafts are being taken out, there's a couple things going on. Number one, it's got to heal up. But number two, you got a bunch of holes in your hairline, and you're expecting to build a new hairline around it. So because you can't go into those holes theoretically with new graft, like it's tricky. It's like you can't wipe the slate with one pass in cases like this. You got to repair the front first, and then come back and graft it. Now you can still do the scar and do a revision. You'll probably get 100 or 200 grafts from that, and there's probably areas where those can be placed anyway. But then if there's an area like in the temple that's too low, he might be able to go behind that and extract those hairs at the same time. But I've seen both cases done, or both approaches done, where hairlines rebuilt at the same time that the hairline grafts were extracted, but it's because the hairline itself was way too low, and new grafting was done behind the hairline extractions. So that once those frontal extractions healed, the grafts that were placed behind it take over. And but I think that's also potentially taxing your system a bit much. Like you want to make sure that this isn't rushed. You don't want to be in a position where you're like, okay, I've got 13 things going on at once. Let's hope they all work out, right? It's like go in, get one thing done, wait 4 months if you have like the hairline grafts extracted and placed someplace else, wait 4 months and go back again. That way you're taking whatever the doc says, 4 to 6 months. Something like a hairline removal will be 4 to 6 months for healing before he'll call you back. But he might also say, well, take those grafts out of your hairline, stick them in your donor scar, so you don't need a scar revision.
Yeah,
talking about that?
What needs to be? Yeah, no. My situation, we're gonna go for at least 1,000 grafts from the donor area, from the where we're gonna discard. So, if he's gonna go, so you cannot. You're saying that he cannot. It's not ideal to recycle the hair that's too far forward in the temporal area and do the grafts behind at the same time.
It's too general to nail this down. It really is. It's just this is the general idea when you're dealing with hairlines where you got to remove a lot of the hair that was placed in the previous procedure. I think it's best to take baby steps. But listen, Dr. Wong he's almost like a savant with this kind of stuff. Like I'll never forget, like before I even started working with the clinic, this is almost 20 years ago, I was up in Vancouver, and I was out to like this dinner thing with both he and Dr. Hasson. And Dr. Hasson and I, we had sat down, we were talking, maybe it was like right after I started working there. But he told me even back then, Dr. Wong has more raw talent about how to do these kinds of things than anyone he's ever met. Now that was 20 years ago, but that still holds true. Like he's got this savant approach. Like he just knows how to deal with tricky shit. I mean, it's amazing. But at the same time, I still believe in taking baby steps. I'm a big believer in that. And I'm saying this to you because your case for me is sight unseen. I don't know what you look like. I don't remember the details or specifics of your case. This is a general approach that you should be considering. And talk to Dr. Wong about it. Ask him, Joe said we should, maybe take baby steps. What's the likelihood of this working out this way or that way? Or, talk to him about that if you haven't already.
Yeah, I'll do that. It was like, and it's only, I say it's about 40 grafts maybe total for the temporal area that he needs to remove.
One temple or both?
On both sides, yeah. So total like maybe 30 and 15, something like that.
Okay.
30 on one side, something around there. So, but it's got to be done right, because otherwise, I just don't know if you want to do it simultaneously. Maybe I'll call him back and ask him. Because I was going to go to a different doctor because they specialize in the FUE to do the temporal area, and then go to Dr. Wong to do the FUT. So
a clinic specializes in FUE for temporal areas?
No, just in general, overall.
Okay. Well, that's a lot of clinics.
I can say, yeah. I mean, there's Dr.
Yeah.
The one from Shapiro.
Dr. Josephitis.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, look. Here's the thing. Dr. Josephitis.
I know. I don't want.
Yeah. He's really good at this. But are you going to have 1,000 FUE, or is that going to be taken out in the strip?
No, just temporal area is all I want to do right now.
But you said okay. But you also said that you want to do 1,000 grafts.
That's that's if I did it simultaneously. I would have done the grafts and the FUE just for the temporal area.
Okay.
The recycling.
Okay.
So this is my dilemma. Which one? I'm trying to figure out which way to go about it. So I'm thinking just do the temporal area, recycle those grafts first, doing at Dr. Shapiro's office, and then do the FUT months later with Dr. Wong. Unless they can do it all at one time. This is my dilemma. I just don't know. I don't know what to do right now.
What does your gut tell you?
Or do I need to send you pictures? My gut tells me to do the temporal area first. Just do that first. Get that done. Given that this is what their specialty at Shapiro. That doctor specializes in that.
Okay, I now know what you're talking about. Okay, both clinics are exceedingly good with temple work, temple points, temples, but go with your gut.
Yeah.
Okay, just go with your gut. Like you got two great clinics, two great doctors.
Yeah.
You have a very clear-cut, obvious situation that they're familiar with. I'm not, because I don't. I've not looked at your case. I don't know. I've not done a consultation for you. Certainly didn't charge you. And so. Just go with your gut.
I wouldn't mind paying. I mean, I had to pay to fly out to both those places just for consult.
That's what people keep telling me. They don't want to pay in, but no thanks. Just go with your gut. That's all I can say. I mean, you got great facilities, both places, great experience, great reputations that are deserved. I mean, the choice is yours. You go with your gut.
And you think that I can't go wrong with that route? The one I'm talking about.
You can always go wrong with any route you take. Never, ever forget that. I will never tell someone you can't go wrong, because you can.
But that's a good plan. That's a good protocol to follow.
Baby steps is always a good plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to trust my instinct. I don't want to do it all at one time. I just, let me get this area, the hairline fixed properly. To look the way I want. Then we can go back.
Yeah, I do. And I think that's the key. Go with your gut.
And I'm glad Spencer didn't. I'm glad Spencer didn't interrupt me. now you remember who I am?
I do remember. Yes.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, listen, dude. I wish you the best of luck. I think your gut is, and I am interrupting you now. I think your gut is telling you.
No, I'm good.
It's good. It's smooth. Take it slow. Just don't rush into it. Start with what you need to have done and who you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm going to do. I think that was a good plan. Just want to hear some feedback.
Yeah, and imagine it. And by the way, talking about getting paid, imagine if we did get paid to consult with people. It's bad enough that we give away free information and people still get pissed.
I know.
Holy shit.
You guys should have every time, but, you should have like GoFundMe or something, where you can donate.
Oh, yeah, we'll have 10 guys donate $10 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
All you motherfuckers, I mean, maybe not you, but all of these guys are so fucking cheap. Now, and I'll tell you how I know this. There's a guy by the name of Tom Likas who is a very well-known broadcaster. If you're on the West Coast, you know who he is. You should know who he is. And he spend all this money. He wanted to create a real, broadcast on the internet, and essentially all he needed was subscribers. And so few people subscribed that he had to close down, first of all, he never actually, to my knowledge, earned much of a profit. And basically he's breaking even his entire time. And then, no matter what people said, they wouldn't pay for the subscription. So he had to kind of just stop doing it. People are fucking cheap. That's the way that it is. But there really are some real dumbasses out there who will pay somebody $3,000 for a consult. So, I mean, Joe, maybe you should do that.
No, it's not a consult. It's post-op support.
Post-op support, yeah.
Yeah. Consultations with me would be at least $500.
Yeah.
Because it's at least worth that.
Yeah.
Steering people with real information that's translated from the horse shit that they usually get from clinics. But yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself in that position.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, good luck. Sorry to interrupt you.
One thing, you guys, whenever I try to see if you're on, like if you're going to go live on a Tuesday or Friday, I never know, I don't see any advertising or anything on your website or any, I don't ever know when you're actually going to be on the air.
Because we have no idea.
We have no idea usually.
No, the best way to find out is subscribe to Joe's YouTube channel, and you'll get an alert.
Yeah. But there won't be an alert if you're not going to have a show, so we don't really know in advance.
I'll tell you what.
Correct.
They're always complaining. They always got something to complain about.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Why don't you follow me on Instagram at Spencer Kobren, and follow Joe on Instagram, and you'll get noticed. You'll get a notice.
I may have to do that. I just don't trust. I hate Facebook. They're all it's all the same company. It's all the same company.
So what do you want us to do? How do you want us to? What would make you comfortable?
YouTube. I'll just do it on YouTube. If you would just post it your hours when your shows are, and then just let people know that there may be days where you might not be available, and you let people know.
Well, so officially from now on,
yes,
you and the world will know we're on every Friday only. No more Tuesday show, and it's at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and 9 p.m. London time, Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah.
Okay. We're doing that because 2 shows a week was I'm busy as hell. Spencer's busy as hell, and it was cutting into our money making time
and our drinking.
And our drinking, cut into our drinking time. So, so we're in my boy FSK in the chat room. You ungrateful prick. We're doing this partially for you because you're in the UK. You didn't see this, Spencer, but he's in the chat room going, if it's only Fridays at 2 p.m., you're cutting into my club time.
All right, man. Well, listen, you take care.
Well, at least you recorded, so that's a good thing. All right, thanks.
Yeah, take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy.
This guy's been holding on for a long time. Yeah. You want to just take one more call and call it a night?
Yeah. While you're okay, you start it. I gotta get some water. I'm dying in here.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Probably wants to speak to you. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spence. This is Mo from the Vancouver area.
Hey, what's happening, Mo?
You guessed it right. I was going to talk to Joe.
All right. Well, then I'll just put his camera on and I'll just go away. There you go.
So how you been?
Oh, now you're asking me how I am. I've been good, man. I've been good. How you been?
Good. I actually just had a surgery on Monday and Tuesday.
Who'd you have surgery with?
Dr. Hasson.
Oh, wow. How'd it go? What was your experience like?
It was a lot tougher than I thought, that's for sure.
Well, you had strip.
No, FUE.
You had FUE. Tell me why it was tougher.
Well, it was a lot of grafts. It was 2 separate days. So the swelling was crazy. My kids don't even recognize me. The amount.
Really?
My head is, it was a lot tougher than I thought. But, I'm starting to feel better, but my scalp is really, really itchy.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's part of the healing process, and you're going to itch a lot. So as your skin begins to heal, and as scabs begin to form, you are going to be in an itchy stage. Oh, Joe's back. So this is this is the guy you really wanted to talk to. You, Joe. He's just making small talk with me.
Well, that's
Joe,
okay. So it's a normal call. Okay, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mo. I'm calling from the Vancouver area.
Mo just had surgery with Dr. Hasson.
Mo in Vancouver, and you had a surgery with Dr. Hasson. Is this your first surgery with Dr. Hasson?
Yeah.
Have you had consultations with him over the years?
I had a consult with him in 2018.
It's a different Mo.
Okay, because there's another Mo. Okay. Anyway, just making sure I don't know
not
you
the Mo from New York. Yeah.
No. There's another Mo in Vancouver that's that used to come to the clinic like once every 5 weeks for a new consultation. Anyway, go ahead. What's up?
He just liked having lunch with you.
Yeah. So you know how you had a FUE recently. Did you have a lot of itching? Like I'm talking about extreme itching in the donor.
Like oh my god,
yeah.
It's like skin
driving me nuts.
Not a lot. No, not a lot.
No?
How many grafts did you have?
I had on Monday I had 2,000, and then on Tuesday I had 2,100.
Yeah, your itching's going to be a little bit more than mine. I only had 700 grafts.
You only had 700, yeah.
Who did your surgery? Was it Carmen or Elena? Sorry.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I forget. No, I took a lot of pills. I took the Valium. I took the sleeping pill.
He's just like, give me whatever the fuck you got. I will take it.
Oh yeah,
sleeping pill before your surgery.
Hook it up to my vein. I don't know. I don't know their name. I forgot their name. But the first day it was a different lady, and the second day it was a different lady. So they were in the same person. Yeah,
dude.
But
always,
yeah.
this is a lesson for everyone listening. Always get to know the person that's actually doing your surgery. Extremely important.
Are you talking about the extraction or the incision?
Yeah, well, that's surgery. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Hasson did the incisions. He made the incisions in your recipient scalp.
That's right.
And then one of the techs or two techs took out the grafts from your scalp, right?
And then Dr. Hasson doesn't put it in. Somebody else.
He just makes he makes the incisions into your scalp. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all he does.
Yeah.
But you should see my recipient area. It's like spotless, even though there was that many grafts.
Oh yeah. It's
the lady who was doing it. She said that she's been doing it for 20 years, and the next day I woke up, I look in the mirror, like you could barely see anything. But the itching.
Okay, let me stop right there. The lady that did it, you said there were two ladies that did them.
There was an Asian
one day.
lady the first day. Yeah.
Okay, an Asian lady the first day.
That's
and
right,
then a different lady the second day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them told you that she's been doing it for 20 years.
That's right, yeah.
She may have been in the field for 20 years. She may have been working.
No, she said she's been doing it. I don't know. Well, she said she's been doing it for 20 years.
There's very few people who've been doing FUE for 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe she was exaggerating.
And if she was doing
But
it,
she was
if
great.
she was doing it for 20 years, then there was a doctor who taught her how to do it, and she was working for another clinic. That was probably in the U.S. So, but it doesn't mean she's if she's working for Victor and Jerry, she's got to be good.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's what counts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what counts.
It was really professional.
Yeah. Very good. So the itching is normal. And it's just the way that it's just a response of healing.
Okay. And then while I was in surgery and I went to the bathroom, I stuck my head in Dr. Wong's surgery room, and I noticed that he's using a different technique than Dr. Hasson in implanting hers. Is one superior than the other, or is it pretty much the same thing?
Well, a few things have changed since I left. I don't know what Dr. Hasson's doing. Actually, I was supposed to go and observe several months ago, but something happened and it didn't work out. I was only able to observe Dr. Wong's team, and before I had my other procedure, or my latest procedure, which helped me to decide on having the procedure, because I wanted to see how the technician was doing, and so what Dr. Wong's team is doing is they're using implanter pens, but they're not doing stick and place. Yeah, but they're not doing stick in place with implanter pens. So Dr. Wong is still making the incisions, and the implanter pens that they have are dull. They're not sharp, and so they simply open the wound and then place the graft inside of it. So Dr. Wong told me that he's seeing more early growth with this change to his style, his technique, than he's ever seen before. And when he tells me this, it's like I believe him. Like, he doesn't make this stuff up, and there's no reason to make it up to me because we're friends. And so I think it's fantastic. Now, the way that he used to do it, which might be the way that Dr. Hasson's team is still doing it, which is he's making the incisions and then they place with forceps, like they've been doing for 20 years. It's tried and true. I mean, it's,
that's the way they were doing it. So basically, there was two techs.
Yeah, one on either side. Yeah, exactly. The argument for the implanter pen approach is that there's less physical manipulation of the graft before it's placed in the recipient site, and so the idea is that that there's less potential damage. But here's the thing: while you saw these differences between both procedures, I mean, I'm sure they do it differently for extractions as well. They're both using, I know Dr. Wong's team is using a couple of different micromotors. They're using the Mamba Punch by Dr. Trivellini. They're using the Wah Punch by Devois Instruments, which is
they were doing a micro thing for me too, 0.85, same size as yours.
So it's a 0.85 trumpet punch, which is great. I'm sure your donor area looks fantastic, but I mean, implanting is different, and it's tried and true with the forceps. They know what they're doing. I can't say that one's going to be better than the other at this point, because when you're already really good at one style, the odds of another style being that much better, it's like, what is it, 0.5% better? I don't know.
It's just a new technique he's using. And another thing I noticed, there was probably 6-7 techs in Dr. Wong's room just loading up the punches,
Yeah.
So, but the other one is less tech work because there's only 2 or 3 people.
Well, and here's the thing: the use of the implanter pens, when they've got a small army that are loading them, then it means that they're going back in the scalp a lot faster than with the forceps, because the planters, the technicians that are planting the grafts, there's no gently shoving them in. Like, they just take them, boom, they're in. It's real fast, and they don't have to carefully manipulate them when they're on their on the back of their hand before they go in. It's a lot faster. So it's nice to see. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I know. I was having a good time just watching them, how they were loading, unloading, loading. But and then the other thing I found interesting was the tech that does the implanting doesn't do the extracting. They only do one part of the job. You know what I mean? So they're really good at what they do.
Well, it's focusing on one job and doing a great job at it. I mean, it's a great approach.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you about, so you know how I did 4,000 grafts? Of that 4,000, only 300 of them were singles, which I found kind of odd. What do you think about that?
Funny about that is back in the day, we used to get criticized for having more singles than the average patient, or more singles than the average clinic, and now it looks like it's not as many singles as the average clinic. No, look, I don't know your case. I don't know the details of it, and I don't know why there are only 300 grafts for the singles, but I'm sure they're all placed in the hairline, and that's where it matters.
Yeah, they all place it in the hairline.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you guys for your show. I listen to you, whenever you're on.
Oh, you want to thank me too now?
Yeah, Donald.
Did you tell Dr. Hasson that?
And then, I told Dr. Hasson. Even I probably saw him for 15 minutes on the second day of surgery. If that, just the implanting, and he left. It wasn't like he was coming in, going out, coming in, going out. But I guess he's busy, right? But whatever. And then another business.
I never like to hear that though. But that's
well, it's true. Yeah. It's not like I saw him more after he did the incisions. I never saw him again, and that's the truth.
That's what she said.
And then another
great laugh this guy's got.
Joel, I think you're underestimating the amount of people would actually pay you to have a consult, to have a proper consult. So,
I don't. Thank you, but I don't care. I say that because I have a ethically. I don't know. I just feel really sleazy if I even begin to think about it, because I don't know. I have never.
But it's a service that's needed,
I know, and I appreciate that. I really do. And every time someone tells me, I get this all the time. I want to pay you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. I do. But for 20 years, almost 20 years, I've been in this industry. I have never taken a commission on patients' consultations. I've never. I've had patients wanting to send me money for appreciation when I did work for clinics. I just don't like doing that. And
but now that you're not working,
it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm not into it.
Yeah, no, it's just your expertise. People pay for you, just like when I go to get a massage, I pay for somebody for their expertise. It's just like that. But anyway,
I appreciate it, and thanks for comparing me to a massage.
A masseuse.
But,
or to a dentist or whatever.
Joe's doing rubs and tugs on the side. Trying to make ends meet.
Here comes the hookers.
Gotta do what I gotta do.
All right, man. Listen, we're gonna call it a night. Good luck. Let us know how everything turns out. Keep us abreast of your progress. All right.
I will. Thanks.
Okay. You take care. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for calling, though.
Okay. Take care. Thanks. Take care.
All right. I'm turning the phones off. Sorry, guys. You were holding on. Okay, Joe. Give out the websites.
Hairlossexperiences.com, a great website where clinics are showing results and patients sharing experience. They're primarily a UK-based forum, but being the interwebs, everyone has access. bellycapelli.forumfree.it, the Italian hair loss and hair restoration website. Again, clinics sharing results, patients sharing experiences. Great people that run the clinic, just like over at Hair Loss Experiences. Didn't mention that, but I am now. bellycapelli.forumfree.it, great resource. Finally, we've got international-hairlossforum.com. It's the French hair loss and hair restoration website. Clinics sharing results, patients sharing experience, and they too support this message. And all of those web properties allow us to stream through their web properties. Allow myself to introduce myself. That's the same kind of thing I just did there. Anyway, so
because they're normal. They're normal people who are running them.
They are. They really are, and we appreciate them and really appreciate their support.
They don't see the bald truth as competition, and they don't see what we do or what Joe does when he puts the bald truth out on other platforms as spamming.
Yes.
Anyway, thebaldtruth.com, archives of this broadcast. Baldtruthtalk.com is our message forum. My motto is stay the fuck off the forums if you can. But we have one for you. We keep it heavily moderated, and everything is 100% transparent, meaning that if you want to post something, It has to go public. That's it. There's no PMing system, private messaging system. Nothing can go on behind the scenes. You're not going to be sold shit. People aren't going to try to talk to you and talk you in or out of having surgery, which is what happens on private messaging systems all the time. Many times these systems are being hustled and used by consultants and other people trying to sell you some shit. And they're posing as people who may not be consultants. They're posing as real users. That's the reality of this game. So we try to make a place that's a safer place for consumers to talk to each other if they want to interact. But my goal is honestly, I mean, we keep that thing open. We do. And it's well trafficked. That's fantastic. But if I can get everybody off of all the forums, I think this will be a much better world. Sorry to say that.
I agree.
The phone number, again, why am I giving out the phone number? Because I'm hungover. No one's calling in because the show is over. So it's AmericanHairLoss.org for the American Hair Loss Association. We are what is that?
It's such a cruel joke. The phone number is 1-888-659-3727. Call us now. And guys like, what's going on?
Damn it. The phone's off.
Damn it.
We are updating the website. We've been talking about that for a long time, but since we've been really, what's happening in 2020 is going to be pretty monumental. Let's put it that way, as far as patient education and what's happening in the industry, and also working with mainstream medical resources. So that update is coming soon. So check out AmericanHairLoss.org for anything and everything hair loss. Also, Joe Tillman's personal website is hairtransplantmentor.com. That's hairtransplantmentor.com for everything Joe Tillman. And please subscribe to Joe's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. And you can obviously see Joe's videos that he puts out, his hair transplant classes, and you get to watch this program live for free. So subscribe, ring the bell, and participate. And the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, that's IAHRS.org. Again, we do our best with the International Alliance. We're the first organization to ever make it clear that not all doctors in this field are created equal, and not all of their staff is created equal. And frankly, most of the people in this field really suck at what they do. However, with that said, even if you go to an IHRS member, it's always possible, if you don't understand that this is cosmetic surgery, it is. And there's not a doctor who is listed and who is accepted as a member into the IHRS who doesn't have at least one patient out there who's unhappy. That's just the way that it is. If you can't deal with that fact, then you should not be having or considering hair transplant surgery at all. You're not a candidate.
Yep.
And I guess that's it. Until next time, and which will be next Friday. Be strong. God bless. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.